My hat! Alright, so at this point we want to remove the electronics, and you may do this for a variety of reasons. One, maybe you want to upgrade, that's fine. Two, maybe you have to just replace them. You've been running this type motor for too long and it's time to get a new one. It is a brushed motor and the brushes inside do wear out after a while. But to be honest, it's a long while before they wear out. So you're going to be driving this car for a good amount of time. The way it's geared, stock, it should last you a long time. But if you do start messing with the gearing, that's when it may not last very long because you may be overheating the motor. At which point you could wear the brushes sooner. You could also damage the magnets because the magnets will damage. They will lose some of their strength with too much heat. But here, you just remove the 4 screws, and all of them appear to be the same size. Let me check. Yes, all 4 of them are the same size, so it really doesn't matter if you mix them up or not. Now, here, all you do now is you can move this for better access. Just open that up. But this will not just lift. And this is what conceals your gears, protects them. Now, the nice thing about this at this point is all you need to do now is just remove this plate. And to be honest, you don't really have to remove this plate. This is just to conceal the wires. The motor just pops out. This here is held by screws underneath. I will not remove them in this model. It's just 1, 2. Because there's no point. You just tuck in the wires and you're going to drop this in those 2 grooves. And that is all you do. So when you're installing the motor again, you're just going to be dropping this in the 2 grooves. And that is it. That is all you do. So tuck in the wire, place the motor mount, and just make sure that the wires are out of the way. Just drop the motor in. Oh, I see. I didn't tuck it properly. There we go. And that's it. So then you would just place that in here. But let me go ahead and remove this. So here, if you're removing the entire thing, there's no need to disconnect, but I will go ahead and disconnect these. Now all you do is just hold both ends. Now there's clear rubber here that goes off to the other side. So grab it back here toward the end and then pull. And the reason why is if you grab, let me just pull real quick. I'm trying not to hit anything. Oh, there we go. If you pull too far forward, you're going to be grabbing onto this part of the insulator. That's the reason why. So just grab, pull, and that's your motor. So the motor is going to have the male connectors. So when you solder the new motor on, just make sure that you solder the same way. Unless you're soldering directly into the ESC, at which point it will not matter. Now, in order to remove this gear, you just grab your 1.5 driver, and there's a little presser in there. So you would just go in here, and then you would just remove this. This would pop out. And to remove it from the motor mount, you would just grab your 2.5, actually, 2.5 driver, and these will be removed. Now, one of the things that you have to look at are the charts in your manual, or you can go to Traxxas.com, because these letters are pre-mounting positions. So you have to see what pinion and what spur, now these are stock, So stock, I'm at C, C, so they're both C. And you just drop the motor, so there's no need for dealing with mesh. Just look at that table, and that table will let you know what pinion is compatible with what spur based on that motor mount. Because not all combinations will work, and you're going to have to play with them. Now, an optional part that you could get, now this is going to be for a different project, it's a Fortec project, you can get this HR Racing part, which is TRF18A01, and this is a motor mount where fixed screw on the bottom, and then the top will just rotate, so you can actually adjust your own mesh. It's also aluminum versus plastic, so it should help dissipate heat a little, not much. It's going to run cooler in the beginning, there's more surface area, but if you're geared wrong, you're going to overheat your motor. So gearing is most important. Now for the ESC, you have these two screws down here, so you have 1 and 2. This one you're not going to use unless you're using the VXL. So VXL, you're going to go here, outer. XL5, which is what comes stock, you're going to go this one, inner. So you will have one screw that is exposed. And that is all right. No big deal. The only thing that can happen is if you drive over sandy surfaces, sometimes you can't get dirt through there. Don't drive over water, but if you get your tub full of water and you're still running and don't pay attention, at least the water will run out through that hole. So think about it as a drain hole. That works. All right, here we go. Perfect. All right, here's the pin for the other arm. I guess I'll just put them there. That way I don't lose them. Right, the ESC is now free. It's not completely free because it's still stuck here. So for the receiver, you have 3 screws, 1, 2, 3. And I'm going to leave them in the lid. Now, one of the things I do like about these Traxxas components, one, they do seal everything, which is nice. If I had had something like this in my Techno when I accidentally dumped it in the river, I didn't dump it in the river, the thing rolled into it. This would have, something like this probably would have saved my receiver, but it does not. Oh well. Here we go. So I'm just going to leave the screws there. There's no point in taking them out. But the nice thing is you can just take this rubber piece out and you can mess with these buttons if you have to pair your transmitter and ESC again for whatever reason. You can do that. Now here, you have these cables. Now there is going to be this jelly. Save it. Just going to place it here. That's just to help with the waterproofing. You can just use Vaseline or any petroleum jelly, to be honest. But it's going to be cable number 2. And try to grab it from the plastic. Don't just pull on the wires. I mean, you could, but sometimes they start wearing out and then you'll pull the wires out of the connector, the little plastic insulator. But you just pull this out, and that's it. So now ESC is out. Put it off, set it off to the side. And I am going to keep these. So I do like this system. It's a good system. I'm not saying it's the best. Yes, there are other brush systems, but it already came in the vehicle. Might as well just use them. Now the next thing that we have is we have the receiver and we have the servo. So for the servo, I'm going to go ahead and disconnect. And then once you disconnect, again there's some jelly. I'm just going to put my driver down here for now because I want to get this out just like this, and I'm going to start pulling on the wire slowly just in case the wire gets stuck. You don't want to break the ribbon. There we go. Now for the receiver you would need the following. You need a 1.5, and there's a little pressure screw right next to the antenna tube. You have to pull this out. You can see you don't really have to if you remove everything with the servo. But let's say you're only removing the servo. Just pull the antenna tube, and then this will come out, and all the wires there. And then this, you just have to pry out. So the receiver is stuck in here with double stick tape. That is it. Now, for now, I'm actually going to leave it in here because I will not be removing it. So let's consider this the reinstallation. Stick the antenna tube in there, right? The wire should be there. It just goes in here. Wire just goes in through this gap, down here, and in there. And that is it. Then you take your little pressure screw, set it in your driver, and then you just drive it, and it was there flush. So I'm just going to drive it there until it's flush. Do not go past, there's no point. That is just there to create some pressure so this doesn't pop out. That's the only reason it's there. But anyway, other than that, this is it. Now you need to remove the servo. If you want to replace this box, you need to remove the servo because this holds the servo, as you will see. So you have these two screws, this one and this one. Those are the ones you remove. There's one. And two. I'm actually going to place them over here. All right, now this will come out, and here the easiest thing for the servo will be to remove this screw, not that one. And then servo will come out. Just in case you want to upgrade your servo or simply replace it because it stopped working, this is the process you would have to do. So in order to remove the servo now, it's only 4 screws. 1, 2, 3, 4. Servo will come out. And then after that, there is a screw inside here, which should be a 2mm. It is a 2mm. You would just unscrew this, and this will come out. And then you grab the new servo, install it, put that screw back in. Just remember, make sure that your servo's in the neutral position, so it's up when you install it. So you may have to run some power, make sure it's neutral, and then you install this at a 90-degree angle, right? It has to be perpendicular with the chassis. And that is all you would do. Now, this here, this is your servo saver. So your servo saver, notice these 2 pieces of plastic. There's going to be a line in there. You can barely see it right there on the collar. It would be right in there. These are 2 actual pieces. So if the servo were turning and then you took a hard impact, this would actually slip a little. There's a spring in there, and this is designed to help you not break your internal gears. These 2075 servos are plastic gear servos. If you do not have a servo saver, you will break them. And you will break them like that. So keep that in mind. Now this link, the screw's back here, so you will have to remove this entire part to get to that screw. If it's still mounted. If it's not mounted, then that's fine. Let's see if I can actually, no, cannot. If it's not mounted, you will have enough space to stick the driver this way and then unscrew that. But I'm going to leave it mounted for now. And that's it. So all of the electronics are now removed. So now we're going to go through the process of just removing the ends.